Whether you're a foodie, a gourmet chef, or just enjoy the ambience, everyone loves to shop at Findlay Market, which welcomes more than 1 million visitors every year. Here are a few facts you might not know about one of Cincinnati's most cherished institutions. Findlay Market is the last remaining public market in Cincinnati, surviving the demise of 8 competitors. Everyone in Cincinnati once shopped at a market within walking distance of their kitchens. The city's markets were located on Canal Street, Court Street, 6th Street, Pearl Street, Wade Street, and 5th Street. In addition, there was the Jabez Elliott Flower Market and the Farmers Wholesale Market. Findlay Market, by the way, is the oldest continually operating public market in Ohio. The market is named for James Findlay, who purchased a large plot of land in what was then unincorporated territory north of Cincinnati. Findlay was an early settler, pioneer merchant, 2-time mayor, U.S. congressman, and general in the Ohio militia. During his service in the War of 1812, he built a military outpost named Fort Findlay in Hancock County, Ohio. The city of Findlay grew up around the fort. Both the fort and the city are named for the general. Findlay Market also memorializes the general's wife, Jane Irwin Findlay. It's likely that she had as much to do with creating Findlay Market as her esteemed husband. Construction on the market began almost immediately after her will was probated in 1852. For its first 60 years, Findlay Market was only an open-air shed. No plumbing, no electricity. Meat hung in the breeze, exposed to dust and flies. Market butchers stored meat in nearby brewery tunnels or relied on delivered ice. Renovation in 1902 and again in 1915 enclosed the structure and introduced water, refrigeration, and lighting. For a time, Findlay Market was a source of graft and political chicanery. While running Cincinnati as his own private fiefdom, George Barnsdale Cox, better known as Boss Cox, let no detail escape his clutches. He saw to it that his friends and political cronies got great deals on Findlay Market stalls, which they then sublet to actual vendors at exorbitant rates. Although Findlay Market is synonymous with opening day in Cincinnati, the parade actually preceded the market's involvement by at least 30 years. The Cincinnati Reds marked their initial home game with a parade between 1890 and 1902. When the team pulled out of the planning, booster clubs stepped in to run an annual pageant. Findlay Market did not get involved until 1920.
And right now, I want to welcome the man who curates these curiosities for us, the one and only Greg Hand. Glad to have you, Greg. Quick question. So were Cincinnati's public markets the only places to buy food back in the day?
No, primarily the public markets would have been your produce markets and your butcher shop. For the normal everyday things, there were lots and lots of grocers. Almost every block had a grocer, but very few of them carried anything that needed to be fresh. You might find some apples, that sort of thing, but you would get your flour and that sort of thing, your butter, oil, right at the neighborhood grocer. But if you really wanted something fresh, if you wanted a decent cut of meat, you had to go to the big public markets.
So did those public markets serve any purpose other than shopping?
It's amazing. These were the public squares of Cincinnati. And for instance, during the Civil War, when volunteers were called upon to come into Cincinnati and join in the defense of the city, they met at the 5th Street Market. Political campaigns always got their start at the markets. There were so many political campaigns that kicked off, for instance, at Findlay Market, that there was a general agreement that one political party would meet at the south side of the market and the other would meet at the north side of the market, so that they didn't get into fisticuffs before they had their torchlight parades into town.
Why didn't the city try to save any of those other markets?
It's kind of sad. I think the city was actually glad to see them go. And in fact, we might have lost Findlay Market itself. There was a city planning study done in the 1950s, and basically it recommended just tearing the whole thing down and putting like a modern supermarket into that space, which would have just been terrible as far as the heritage of the city goes. And somehow, by a hair's breadth, Findlay Market was saved. But I think when they had the first excuse, they tore down the Court Street Market, and for a while it subsisted as a sidewalk sort of thing. But the city really wanted to keep the roads open, and the market suffered.
Well, Greg, thanks for putting this all together for us. Always great to have you on the show. Have a great day.
Thank you.